Hey, Kowende is back in the building. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a little bit more information from this book, King, Warrior, Magician, and Lover by Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette. As I stated in the last couple of videos, this is not an attack on masculine energy. Enough of that foolishness has been taking place over the past years now. This is simply my way of sharing the root cause of the soft or weak masculine here in the West in ways men in particular can work on transforming their masculine consciousness, harmonizing the masculine energies, and being more into their masculinity and godship. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. We live in a time when people are generally uncomfortable with the warrior form of masculine energy, and for some good reasons. Women especially are uncomfortable with it because they have often been the most direct victims of it in the shadow form. Around the planet, warfare in our century has reached such monstrous and pervasive proportions that aggressive energy itself is looked upon with deep suspicion and fear. This is the age in the West of the soft masculine. In North America, Native American men lived and died with the warrior energy informing even the most smallest of their acts, living their lives nobly with the courage and with capacity to endure great pain and hardship, defending their people against an overwhelming foe, and leaping into battle with the cry, "Today is a good day to die." The warrior energy, then, no matter what else it may be, is indeed universally present in us men and in the civilizations we create, defend, and extend. It is a vital ingredient in our world building and plays an important role in extending the benefits of the highest human virtues and cultural achievements to all of humanity. It is also true that this warrior energy often goes awry. When this happens, the results are devastating. But we still have to ask ourselves, why is it so present within us? What is the warrior's function in the evolution of human life? And what is its purpose in the psyches of individual men? What are the warrior's positive qualities and how they can help us men in our personal lives and in our work? The characteristics of the warrior in its fullness amount to a total way of life, what the samurai call do. These characteristics constitute the warrior's dharma, ma'at or tao, a spiritual or psychological path through life. We have already mentioned aggressiveness as one of the warrior's characteristics. Aggressiveness is a stand towards life that rouses, energizes, and motivates. It pushes us to take the offensive and to move out of a defensive or holding position about life's tasks and problems. The summarized advice was also to leap into battle with the full potential of chi or vital energy at our disposal. The Japanese warrior tradition claimed that there is only one position in which to face the battle of life, frontally, and it also proclaimed that there is only one way, forward. How does the man accessing warrior energy know what aggressiveness is appropriate under the circumstances? He knows through clarity of thinking, through discernment. The warrior is always alert. He is always awake. He is never sleeping through life. He knows how to focus his mind and his body. He is what the samurai call mindful. The warrior traditions all affirm that in addition to training, what enables a warrior to reach clarity of thought is living with the awareness of his own intimate death. The warrior knows the shortness of life and how fragile it is. A man under the guidance of the warrior knows how few his days are. Rather than depressing him, this awareness leads him to an outpouring of life force and to an intense experience of his life that is unknown to others. Every act counts. Each deed is done as if it was his last. The samurai swordsmen were taught to live their lives as if it was already dead. Constaneto's Don Juan taught that there is no time for anything but meaningful acts if we live with the death as our eternal companion. There is no time for hesitation. This sense of immediate of death energizes the man accessing the warrior energy to take decisive action. This means that he engages life. He never withdraws from it. He doesn't think too much because thinking too much can lead to doubt, and doubt to hesitation, and hesitation to inaction. Inaction can lead to losing the battle. The man who is a warrior avoids self consciousness as we usually define it. His actions become second nature. They become unconscious reflex actions, but they are actions he has trained for, though the exercise of enormous self-discipline. The warrior energy also shows what we can call a transpersonal commitment. His loyalty is to something, a cause, a god, a people, a task, a nation, larger than individuals, though that transpersonal loyalty may be focused to some important person, like a king. The warrior's loyalty, then, and his sense of duty are to something beyond something other than himself and his own concerns. The warrior is often a destroyer, but the positive warrior energy destroys only what needs to be destroyed in order for something new and fresh, more alive, and more virtuous to appear. Many things in our world needs destroying: corruption, tyranny, oppression, injustice, obsolete and despotic systems of government, corporate hierarchies that get in the way of the company's performance, unfulfilling lifestyles and job situations, bad marriages. And in the very act of destroying, often the warrior energy is building new civilizations, new commercial, artistic, and spiritual ventures for humankind, new relationships. When the warrior energy is connected with the other mature masculine energies, something truly splendid emerges. When the warrior is connected with the king, the man accessing these powers is consciously stewarding the realm, and his decisive actions, clarity of thinking, discipline, and courage are, in fact, creative and generative. At this moment in history, we need only to think of Mikhail Gorbachev, warrior and king, struggling against the inertia of the Soviet system, standing in the center, making war on the old and inefficient, generating the new and more vigorous, shepherding his people into a new era they themselves would not have the courage to face without his leadership, without his access to these two mature masculine energies. The warrior's interface with the magician archetype is what enables a man to achieve such mastery and control over himself and his weapons. It is also what allows him to channel and direct power to accomplish his goals. His admixture with the lover energy gives the warrior compassion and a sense of connectedness with all things. The lover is the masculine energy that brings a man back into relatedness with human beings in all their family and vulnerability. The lover makes the man under the influence of the warrior compassionate, and at the same time, he is doing his duty. So, if we are accessing the warrior appropriately, we will be energetic, decisive, courageous, enduring, persevering, and loyal to some greater good beyond our own personal gain. At the same time, we need to be leavening the warrior with the energies of the other mature masculine forms, the king, the magician, and the lover. If we are accessing the warrior in the right way, we will, at the same time that we are detached, be warm, compassionate, appreciative, and generative. We will care for ourselves and others. We will fight the good fights in order to make the world a better and more fulfilling place for everyone and everything. Our war making will be for the creation of the new, the just, and the free. That is a little information on the warrior energy and what it consciously feels like to be under possession of the positive warrior energy. So next up, we'll talk a little bit about the magician energy and how a man is accessing his magician archetype. Shamans, medicine men, wizards, witch doctors, brujahs, inventors, scientists, doctors, lawyers, technicians, all these are accessing the same masculine energy pattern, no matter what age or culture they live in. Merlin, in the Arthurian stories, builds a Camelot of which our technology, psychology, sociology still dream, regulated weather, an orderly and egalitarian society, the blessings of love and mutuality between people, and the recognized need to go on questing for a supreme goal in the quest of the Holy Grail. Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars adventure seeks to direct a renewal of his galaxy by a combination of his secret knowledge about the Force and the application of advanced technology. The energies of the magician archetype, whenever we encounter them, are twofold. The magician is the knower and he is the master of technology. Furthermore, the man who is guided by the power of the magician is able to fulfill these magician functions in part by his use of ritual initiatory process. He is the ritual elder who guides the process of transformation both within and without. The human magician is always an initiate himself, and one of his tasks is to initiate others. But of what is he an initiate? The magician is an initiate of the secret and hidden knowledge of all kinds. And this is the important point. All knowledge that takes special training to acquire is the provenance of the magician energy. Whether you are an apprentice training to become a master electrician and unraveling the mysteries of high voltage, or a medical student grinding away night and day studying the secrets of the human body and using the available technologies to help your patients, or the would-be stockbroker, or a student of high finance, or a trainee in one of the psychoanalytic schools, you are in exactly the same position as the apprentice, shaman, or witch doctor in tribal societies. You are spending large amounts of time, energy, and money in order to be initiated into rarefied realms of secret power. You are undergoing an ordeal testing your capacities to become a master of this power. And as in true in all initiations, there is no guarantee of success. The magician is a universal archetype that has operated in the masculine psyche throughout history. It can be accessed today by modern men in their work and in their professional lives. One aspect of the magician's knowing of his seeing into the depths not only of nature but of human beings was his capacity to deflate the arrogance, especially of kings, but also of any important public official. The magician archetype in a man is his bullshit detector. It sees through denial and exercises discernment. He sees evil for what and where it is, and whatever it masquerades as goodness, as it so often does. In ancient times, when a king became possessed by his angry feelings and wanted to punish a village that had refused to pay his taxes, the magician, with measured and reasoned thinking, or with a stabbing blow of logic, would reawaken the king's conscience and good sense by releasing him from his temperance mood. The court magician, in effect, was the king's psychotherapist. There is another area in our modern world in which the psychological and spiritual knowledge and energy channeling of the magician archetype are being revived. This is the area of the so-called occult. There are many ritual magicians from all walks of life: bankers, computer operators, housewives, chemical engineers, and many others who do their daylight work like other people and then retire to their real work mostly at night, in which they seek initiation into the higher planes. They contact what they call entities who teach them how to see more deeply and how to use the power that becomes available to them for the good and for ill. These people, exactly like the ancient magicians, are concerned with knowledge or secret wisdom and powers and of the technological issues of containment, often through the insulating effects of magic circles, words of invocation and banishment, and of channeling, often through the use of well-known magical wand. So the magician in his fullness. What does all this mean for us men pursuing our own quest for personal happiness and for the life enhancement of our loved ones, our companies, our causes, our people, our nations, and our world? What functions of the magician energy of the mature masculine performing in our daily lives? The magician energy is the archetype of awareness and of insight primarily, but also of knowledge of anything that is not immediately apparent or commonsensical. It is the archetype that governs what is called psychology, the observant ego. The observant ego is detached from the ordinary flow of daily events, feelings, and experiences. In a sense, it doesn't live life. It watches life and it pushes the right buttons at the right times to access energy flows when they are needed. It is like a hydroelectric dam operator who watches the gauges and his computer screens for building pressures on the dam surface and then decides whether or not to release water through the sluices. The magician archetype, in concert with the observant ego, keeps us insulated from the overwhelming power of the other archetypes. It is the magician, it is the mathematician and the engineer in each of us that regulates the life functions of the psyche as a whole. It knows the enormous force of the psyche's inner dynamics and how to channel them for maximum benefit. It knows the unbelievable force of the sun within, and it knows how to channel the sun's energy for maximum benefit. The magician patterns regulates the internal energy flows of the various archetypes for the benefit of our individual lives. The magician then is the archetype of thoughtfulness and reflection, and because of that, it is also the energy of introversion. What we mean by introversion is not shyness or timidity, but rather the capacity to detach from the inner and outer storms and to connect with the deep inner truths and resources. Introverts, in this sense, live much more out of their centers than other people do. The magician energy in aiding the formation of the ego self is immovable in its stability, centeredness, and emotional detachment. It is not easily pushed and pulled around. The magician often comes online in a crisis. So, for those of you who are hit with, crises, internal traumas become abound, it's very important that you don't identify with these energies as your own, as who you are, because you're not your trauma. You're not the chaos that's taking place within you and all around you. There's a center within yourself. Whenever you feel yourself being overwhelmed by life or the pressures or the internal conflict of doubt and fear and shame or whatever the case, place your awareness on that stillness that dwells within you, that king energy, that positive warrior energy, that positive lover energy, or your highest conception of deity. Place your awareness on that stillness within yourself and allow these emotions to ride above you and pass away. So there's another aspect of the magician called the shadow magician, the manipulator and the denying innocent one. As positive as the magician archetype is, like all other forms of the mature masculine energy potentials, it too has a shadow side. If ours is the age of the magician, then it's also an age of the bipolar shadow magician. The active pole of the shadow magician is, in a special sense, a power shadow. The man under this shadow doesn't guide others as a magician does. He directs them in ways they cannot see. His interest is not in initiating others by graduated degrees that they can integrate and handle into better, happier, and more fulfilled lives. Rather, the manipulator maneuvers people by withholding from them information they may need for their own well being. He charges heavily for the little information he does give, which is usually just enough to demonstrate his superiority and his great learning. The shadow magician is not only detached, he is also cruel. There's a lot of shadow magicians yapping on social media these days. That's not funny, I'm just saying. Regrettably, a good example of this can be found in our graduate schools. A number of graduate students, bright, gifted, hardworking, have told us of shadow magician experience with their professors. Rather than accessing the magician appropriately and thus serving as guides for these young people's initiation into the esoteric realm of advanced studies, these men habitually attack their students, seeking to crush their enthusiasm. Unfortunately, this scenario is repeated all too frequently in educational institutions on all levels, from kindergarten to medical school, from high school to trade school. Many men involved in modern medicine demonstrate this power of shadow too. It is well known that the best money in medicine is made by the specialist who is an initiate into rarefied fields of knowledge. There are no doubt many medical specialists who are genuinely interested in their patients' well-being, but many of these men will not tell their patients important details about what is wrong with them, especially in the field of oncology. Doctors routinely withhold vital information that would allow their patients to prepare themselves and their families for the treatment ordeal to come, as well as for the possibility of death. Furthermore, the soaring cost of medicine, especially of exotic equipment and procedures, testify to the greed not only for the power that secret knowledge brings to its possessor, but also for material wealth that men possessed by the manipulator fall victim. The passive pole of the magician's shadow is what we are calling naive or innocent one. The innocent one is the carryover from the childhood into adulthood of the passive pole of the precocious child, the shadow, the dummy. The man possessed by the innocent one wants the power and status that traditionally come with the man who is a magician, at least in the societal sanctioned fields. But he doesn't want to take on responsibility that belongs to a true magician. He does not want to share and to teach. He does not want the task of helping others in a careful, step-by-step way that is necessary part of every initiation. He does not want to be a steward of sacred space. He doesn't want to know himself, and he certainly doesn't want to make the great effort necessary to become skilled at containing and channeling power in constructive ways. He wants to learn just enough to derail those who are making worthwhile efforts. While he is protesting the innocence of his hidden power motives, the man possessed by the innocent one, too good to make any real efforts himself, blocks others and seeks their downfall. Whereas the trickster plays his tricks in part for the sake of revealing the truth, the innocent one hides the truth for the sake of achieving and maintaining his own precarious status. While the trickster aims at the necessary deflation of our grandiosity, the shadow magician, as both manipulator and the innocent one, works at deflating us when such deflation is not only unnecessary but harmful to all. The innocent one's underlying motivations come from envy of those who act, who live, who want to share, because the man possessed by the innocent one is envious of life. He is also afraid that people who discover his lack of life energy and throw him off his wobbly pedestal. His detachment and his impressive behavior, his deflating remarks, his hostility towards questions, even his accumulated expertise are all designed to cover his real inner desolation and to hide his actual lifelessness and irresponsibility from the world. The man possessed by the innocent one commits both sins of commission and sins of omission, but hides the hostile motives behind an impenetrable wall of vague naivety. Such men are slippery and elusive. They do not allow us to engage them frontally with our warrior energy. They parry our attempts to confront them, thus keeping us off balance by seducing us into an endless process of questioning our own intuitions about their behavior. If we challenge their innocence, they will often act with a show of tear-jerking bewilderment and leave us a stew in our own juices. We may even feel ashamed of ourselves for having attributed base motives to them and conclude that we must be paranoid. But we will not be able to escape an uneasy feeling that we have been manipulated. And in the feeling, we will have detected the active pole, the magician's shadow behind the smoke screen of innocence. So that is some of the characteristics of a shadow magician. Those who accumulate a whole bunch of information, but at the same time block those who want to act on the information also. Social media is running amok with those type of characters. So when you're on this path of transforming your masculinity, transforming your masculine consciousness, more information to come in ways that one may utilize certain powers, certain energies, certain symbols of power to help to transform. There are going to be those around you, forces within you and around you that don't want you to make this change. They profit when you're in a weakened state. They may talk shit that you're in a weakened state, but they also are able to control and manipulate you. These folks on the outside of yourself really don't want to see you to transform yourself. As long as they're able to control and manipulate you, all is well. But once you begin to move based on your own inner convictions, once you decide to go on a different path other than what they see you on, there's going to be a problem. So this symbol of power, very, very powerful, simple symbol here, but very, very powerful at cleansing your inner world of fears, doubts. All your fears, all your negative emotions, they're entities that are feeding on this fear, this doubt, this worry, this anxiety. So this symbol of power, I created an awesome meditation video on my YouTube page. I actually did it maybe a week ago or so, but it has a high-pitched tone designed to clear away negative spiritual entities. So I think 10,000 megahertz tone. So it's very awesome. Got a nice little thunderstorm popping with it also. So you can utilize that meditation and meditate on clearing out those negative energies, negative entities that are feeding on the inner planes. Your feelings of self-doubt, worry, abandonment. These are entities feeding on these negative emotions and they have to be cleared out. So this is a symbol of power. Call it Haggle, Hagal. It's often referred to as the mother rune also. Similar to the energy of Hagalaz if you're familiar with the runic energies. So this is the energy that you can call upon to permeate your soul, permeate your consciousness, permeate your aura, permeate your spirit, permeate your nervous system also. Call upon the energy to clear away any negative energies or entities that dwell within you. Also asking about the energy to permeate your aura, clearing your aura of any negative spiritual attachments, as well as protecting your energy field from all negative environmental influences. Once you begin to make this change and transformation within yourself, there's going to be forces within you that seek to sabotage your efforts. These energies or entities have been feeding on you for a long time, and they don't want to let go. So you have to sever the connection with these entities. They're gonna be people around you who have been draining your energy while you're in a weakened state. They want to keep you right there. You know what I'm saying? You have to protect your energy from these people also. And they're usually going to be people the closest to you that's been feeding on your weakness all the while. When they see this shift in consciousness, when they feel that you're about to move forward and perhaps get out of their space or even out of their environment, they're going to want to hold you right there to continue to feed on your energy. So you're going to have to protect your energy, and you're going to have to be military with this because they're not going to stop. They're not going to let go. So the last video, I put out the energy of Sawulo. That will help to empower your willpower, because you're going to need a tremendous amount of willpower to get yourself out of the sunken place, as they say. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is not an attack on masculinity. I'm here to help assist those that are ready to make that transformation in consciousness and to heal from any and all of the childhood trauma that, you know, was the root cause of the weakened masculine. Also, patriarchy also is not just about oppressing women. Patriarchy, as I stated in the first video on this series, also fears real men. So as you begin to awaken to your true masculinity and your true godhood, patriarchy is also going to fear you. So you also have to protect your energy field even from those men in high positions. Feel your new energy coming. They get intimidated and they seek to get in the way of progress. But that's a day problem. Your task now is to move like a boss. And it will start with transforming your consciousness, learning how to protect yourself from within and without, accessing the king energy or reconnecting with the energy of your soul and asking, what do I need to be doing right now? Never mind anything you get from the outside. Connect with your inner forces. Connect with your soul. Connect with your more ancient ancestors. And you will get those inner impulses on the right move, the right action to take. So again, this energy here, the name of it is Haggle, Hagal. It is an energy you can meditate upon. The video that I created is about 30 minutes. You can work with it for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, but you can work with it and call upon the energy or invite the energy to clear away those negative entities or energies, and also to protect your consciousness from demonic influences or negative entities that wish to come against you. Very, very potent energy here. So you can screenshot it, or again, the video is a gift from the ancestors. I'm telling you, it's a very powerful meditation. You can't stand the high-pitched tone. That is good news because that is telling you that you have some negative spiritual attachments in your energy field. So the more you listen to it, the more you're going to clear out these entities. And when you can sit there for that half hour and tolerate that high-pitched tone, that is good news. You're doing great. I will be proud of you. But if you can tolerate it, that means you're not as bad as you think you are, and keep it up. Listen to it daily. It will keep the negative spirits out of your aura. What the negative spirits do when they begin to permeate your aura, not only do they block your blessings, or they block your money flow, they block your revelations. They block the guidance that will come your way. You know, throughout this journey of mine, I'm always working on enhancing my spiritual perception and my clairvoyant abilities. I was able to see an entity over my head, like blocking my vision. I'm like, oh my God. Once I was able to see this entity, I then called on annihilation and destruction. This playtime is over. No, my spirit team was like, never mind protection. It's destruction and annihilation season. So you want to destroy and annihilate these entities that's in the way of progress. So once I called on destruction, annihilation, the entity tried to run, but it caught the chainsaw came on the scene. They got hit with the chainsaw. Got chopped in half. So you want to destroy and annihilate these entities. Once you call on that destruction and annihilation, you're going to see some serious ass kicking taking place in the dream state. That is your spirit team that's been there all the while waiting for instruction. You're going to feel lighter, but you still must keep up the work on a consistent basis, because those around you that's been feeding on you, they can feel the shift. They know you're about to move forward and move onward. So this symbol is very powerful at protecting your energy field within and without. So hope you enjoyed this video on the warrior energy, a little bit on the magician energy and what it's like to move as a magician in terms of consciousness. The next video I'm going to get into is the lover archetype of the masculine energy. So if you have any questions, give me a holler. Until next time, peace.